And most of the time, the synthetic pathways they're reversible in the reverse of the so, okay. Yeah, I think next week I think we do purines and pyrimidines. I think.
So we're not going to go in like depth of which amino acids go into.
Not yet. When we do there's a whole lecture on catabolism of amino acids and a whole lecture on, yeah, and thank you. Okay.
I did the best.
Oh, look how it's much better than it came out on the print.
On multiple pages.
Okay, good. All right. So here the water-soluble vitamins go. All right. So you realize that this was an error in the textbook. Okay, that this should be citrus fruits and everything, and scurvy is so this is vitamin C. So you may want to add that in there, ascorbic acid. Okay. All right. We've gone through thiamine and riboflavin. Notice they have consequences of deficiency. I think if you look farther on, there's this handout that Dr. Kreitzer is going to send out, which is other vitamins also look at hypervitaminosis state. When I taught this last year, the only hypervitaminosis state that I knew of was vitamin B6, which is pyridoxine, okay? And that caused a change in gait in the way somebody walked. It was in some way it had a neurologic gait, meaning how you walk, not where you go through, okay? GAIT, okay? All right. So biotin, here's pantothenic acid. Choline, for instance, is listed as that, but you can get choline from making, for some of the phospholipids can make choline, so it really isn't a vitamin on that basis. Okay, so now can we go to the next page? Yeah. Oh, sorry. So I'm vitamin D. I'm sorry. Okay, vitamin A. Thank you. Fat-soluble vitamins. Okay, vitamin A. Okay. The vitamin name is retinol. Okay. But most of us don't ingest retinol. Okay. We ingest. What's our major source of? What do you get in carrots? Why are carrots good for your vision? Okay. What's the pigment in carrots? Carotene, beta-carotene. It's a large, multiple polyunsaturated molecule, okay? And you cleave it in half and you get 2 molecules of retinol, okay? So it's beta-carotene. That's why carotene and these are all orange things, right? But sweet potatoes, squash, deep orange fruits, vegetables, broccoli, okay? So that's where you get it, all right? Vitamin A, of course, because of why is it called retinol? Because it's important for vision, okay? So you can have a problem with night vision, which means that it's affecting rods or cones? Rods, right, exactly. So it's affecting rods. Zero ophthalmia. Anybody know? Dry eyes, yep, zero means that. Keratinization of epithelium and gastrointestinal tracts. So those are some of the other real problems with it, okay? Vitamin K. Have you guys done blood coagulation yet? The pathway? Okay. If you think there's a lot of steps in that, blood coagulation is like crazy, okay? I'm thankful God we have it, but no, defective blood coagulation and hemorrhagic anemia of the newborn, okay? So the sources of these are things that, vegetable oils and others, okay, vitamin K, all right? Vitamin D. Where do you get your vitamin D from? Yeah. What? RDA, yeah, recommended. Sometimes you'll see it as RDI, okay? Yeah, but it's RDA, recommended. Do you read your cereal box in the morning? There's an RDA for calcium and all of these things. As you get older, you have to start reading it. Well, my vision isn't a problem, but you have to start reading it what you're getting. Okay, in terms of calcium. Yes? What? Recommended daily allowance. Okay. Now, so with the exception of E, because nobody really knows whether there's a hypervitaminosis state for it, the fatty acids you can take too much. That's a hypervitaminosis state. Okay. And so one of the reasons that you want to know what's happening is that you don't want to you take too much and then get the side effects of too much of this, okay, on that. So that's where they're kind of distinct from the water solubles, okay. There are hypervitaminosis states, but they're not as common. They don't have names, okay, on that basis, okay. But there is a real problem. And so the vitamin D is you find it. So where did you get it? Say while you were on vacation. Sitting in the sun, okay, all right. 10 minutes a day should give you sufficient amounts of vitamin D, okay. Vitamin D is then, as you probably know now that I know what your curriculum is like, you've actually had vitamin D, and it has the vitamin D is the hormone that it's converted into a hormone, cholecalciferol, okay. And then what it does is it maintains blood calcium levels, okay. All right, now it's really important. So one of the things that is that if you're taking a lot of vitamin D, but you're not taking a lot of calcium with it in your diet or supplementing it with calcium, and when your blood calcium levels are low, where does it go? It goes to the bone, and it starts to take the calcium out of the bone. So you always have to, when you're taking vitamin D as a supplement, okay, or you're out in the sun a lot and you're making a lot of it on that basis, you always have to make sure you're taking sufficient amounts of calcium, because it affects, it's the uptake from the gut is dependent on vitamin D, okay? But once the calcium level falls in the blood, you're going to end up with a situation where you're going to have a hypervitaminosis state, and the vitamin D will now go to the bone and cause a reabsorption of calcium from bone, and so you get bone that becomes brittle and various other things, okay? So probably you have, some of you have relatives or who have problems with bone density, okay? So they have to take calcium, all right, and or vitamin D, and you always have to balance the calcium, okay? And that's one of the reasons you start reading all the containers, okay? My wife has to take calcium, okay? She has a little bit of osteomalacia, and so she has to take calcium, but she always has to make sure that she's not taking too much vitamin D without a sufficient amounts of calcium, okay? So it's one of those issues that you can deal with, okay? So that hormone works to maintain blood calcium levels for all the things that calciums are involved with, okay? And then vitamin E, it's in vegetable oils. It used to be called the rat sterility factor when I was in graduate school. So, and I had no reason to make whether or not rats were sterile or not, although I did work on rats. So they're muscular dystrophy and neurologic abnormalities. And these are all associated with, notice fatty things, fatty fish, okay? These are not fatty, okay? But vitamin K is not as fatty as the others, and then we have the vitamin A, okay? Are there any questions? Okay. So, just to think about the hyperstate and the hypostate, that's much more important in the fat-soluble vitamins. Okay. Good. So now we're going to go to the second lecture. Okay. The second lecture is the alpha amino group metabolism of the urea cycle. This is chapter 36 in the 5th edition. I think it's chapter 35 in the 4th edition of the textbook, okay? What is it? Am I right? 38? Yeah, okay. I have it out in the handout. I didn't look. Right?